Well, this is a seal for a pump, hydraulic pump on a 3016. It's very brittle. I took the pump apart, as you can see back here, and I got a bunch of gaskets and seals coming in to rebuild it. And I had a slight problem trying to figure out how to get this pump out, or this seal out. And I had a couple of suggestions. One was to use a J-hook and try to reach inside around the seal and use like a weight to pull it out, like a dent puller. Another one, which ended up being successful because I didn't have time to evolve this tool, is to just find a spot where that passageway is and put the screwdriver in underneath and just use it as a fulcrum to pull it out. And it looks like I didn't damage any of the surface here. There was a nick in the face here and I cleaned it up. So it looks like I got a little blue residue here from the old seal, so I'll have to clean that off a little bit. But that basically concludes my effort to take this pump apart, and waiting for the parts to come in. And once they come in, I'll carefully clean and put this all back together. I'll show you the unit here. This is the unit. So it was not tricky, but unless you knew how to do it, the pump shaft went in here, and it's held by 2 Allen screws. But to get this off with the pump attached here, you have to unscrew these 4 bolts, and it gets pretty tricky because the whole engine spins. So you got to use a wrench and tap it to loosen them up. And then once you, assuming you have the high pressure hydraulic line and the low pressure line, which isn't which isn't there, you take that bracket that connects to that bolt there, which is the only last thing holding the pump. And once you take these screws out, it just comes right out like that. There's no spline, there's no love joint or whatever interface here. It's just bolts, and all it's needed to do is drive the pump. So I took the time, since I had it, to lube up, and I'm getting a tune-up kit from Northeast Case Ingersol, and get new plugs, wires, air filter, maybe a few other things. It's all lubed up. I used dielectric grease, and I greased all these connections. I greased all these levers, and I ended up putting dielectric grease on this. You can see how this connector had poor connections, so the resistance built up heat and it wore out unless it hit the belt or a pulley back there. But I had the same thing with the ignition switch, and so I lubed that up with dielectric grease after I got a new ignition switch. So the one other thing is this safety switch here. It wasn't starting, and it's because if you listen closely, if it's not in neutral, it won't start. So I had to tweak the angle on that piece of steel there so that when it was in the center neutral position, the switch knew it was in neutral. It was one of the problems I was having. I had to do the ignition switch, I had to do that, and I put a new starter on it. This starter came with a solenoid at a much lower position than the original one, and it works. So so hopefully I get the tune-up parts in, I'll get the pump rebuilt, put it all back together, I'm using oil suggested by Ryan up at Northeast, Case Ingersol, 540. I got this on sale for 28 bucks, but now it's back up to 35. So when I emptied the tank, I had to pull these 2 gallons out. Here's the tank. I apologize, I got this sent to me. I just paid for shipping. He was happy to send it. I forgot your name, I apologize, but I had to replace the tank because the battery melted. I had an solar charger, the battery melted. I thought it popped the hose off, heated up the oil, but it ended up, after putting in new hoses, here's the other new hose. I got it off a bill at Barnverd Implement. I put new hoses on it, and I went to start it up. It went fine, and 2 weeks later I went up there, it was still leaking oil, and ended up being the pump. So this baby should be ready to go. This is the 3rd winter I'm going to try to use it to plow snow. So the only recommendation or suggestions I could give anyone who's working on these things is just don't give up. And thanks to everybody on Case Ingersol Garden Tractor Facebook group for making things a little bit easier. All right, take care.